got a really fun show on tap for you today. We're going to be breaking down, should DeAndre Hopkins be the next Texan to be inducted into the Ring of Honor? Jarrett Patterson, should he be the starting center for your Houston Texans? And Braxton Berrios, is he the return man? I don't know. We'll break down all these on today's program, but a fun question to get us kicked off. I want to know in the comment section, your favorite Texans player of all time. If you can only pick one, who is it going to be? Let me know down in the comments section. Is it a, fan favorite like a J.J. Watt and Andre Johnson? Do you have a more niche selection? Let me know, though, your favorite Texans player of all time. I'll be looking down in the comments section. I want to know your favorite Texans player. All right. On today's show, we're going to be doing the Toro Heads meter. So this is kind of how I break down stories and, my thoughts on them. If I give something 0 heads, fake news. 1 head, small shred of truth. 2 Toro heads, 50-50 shot, people are talking. 3 heads, pretty likely. And if it's 4 Toro heads, H-Town, you better hold it down. So let's get into today's stories. First up, DeAndre Hopkins. Should he be in the Texans Ring of Honor? I'm going to give this one 3 Toro heads saying people are talking. I think DeAndre Hopkins should eventually be in the Texans Ring of Honor, but the subject came up because DeAndre Hopkins was on a podcast and they asked him about possibly being in the Texans Ring of Honor, and this is what D-Hop had to say. I love Houston. I still live here. My family lives here, so of course that would be cool to be in the Houston Ring of Honor one day. Even though I only played 7 years here? That's short. That's not a lot of time to be on a team. I don't know, man. Now that I think about it, do I deserve to be in the Ring of Honor? So you can even hear in DeAndre Hopkins talking about it. He's questioning whether or not he should be in the Texans Ring of Honor. And here are his stats in those 7 seasons with the Houston Texans. Incredible. Receptions, 632. Yards, 8,602. Touchdowns, 54. And he had 11 different starting quarterbacks for his time with the Houston Texans. 11 in 7 seasons. The last 4 years that D-Hop had with the Houston Texans, he was putting up amazing numbers. Look at these, right? Over 1,000 yards. He had over 1,500 yards in 2018. He had 11 touchdowns that year, 13 touchdowns the year prior. He was an absolute unit whenever he was a part of the Houston Texans. And I loved Hopkins in Houston. And he's undoubtedly the second best receiver in franchise history for now. But the question is, should he be the next Houston Texan to be inducted into the Ring of Honor? And that's why I only gave it 3 Toro heads, because I think when it comes down to it, whenever he's retired and whenever he's been out of the league for a little bit, I do think he deserves his spot in the Ring of Honor for what he did for this team for those 7 seasons. He was, 3-time first-team All-Pro. He was one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver, for a chunk of time whenever he was a member of the Houston Texans. But should he be the next, though? That is the crux of the question, because these are just some names that I was spitballing, that I was thinking about, that I think should also be candidates for the Ring of Honor. Arian Foster was easily one of the best running backs for multiple seasons whenever he was a member of the Houston Texans, and really catapulted those years in those first playoff runs for Houston. Dwayne Brown, a first-round selection out of Virginia Tech, was a stalwart at left tackle for the Houston Texans for 10 seasons? He was incredible. Chester Pitts, one of the OG Texans, gave that famous speech on the Texans' very first Monday Night Football matchup and was an awesome guard for this team for many, many years. Jonathan Joseph, maybe arguably one of the best free agent signings in Texans history, was a lockdown corner for this team during those playoff runs, during those pivotal years in this franchise, and continues to be around the team, mentoring young guys like Derek Stingley, like Kamari Lassiter. And then you have our coach, D'Amico Ryans, who was a linebacker with the team, didn't spend the most time with the team, but still is the all-time leader in tackles for your Houston Texans. And he didn't play as many games as a lot of the other guys on, that tackling list. But D'Amico Ryans came out number 1, and he's the current coach of this team. Back-to-back wins in the playoff, back-to-back trips to the divisional round. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Should D-Hop be the next Texans member in the Ring of Honor? Give me a yes, Give me a note down in the comments section. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break here, all good. Scroll on down and make your voice be heard. And I don't want just a simple yes or no, actually. I want you to plant your flag. I want you to give me your point on why you think he should or should not be the next member in the Texans Ring of Honor. All right, next up, Jarrett Patterson. Should he start at center? I'm going to give this one 2 Toro heads and say there's about a 50-50 shot in my opinion. Now, we all know, start of OTAs, who came out and was the starting center? It was Jake Andrews. But PFF just released their top 32 centers heading into the 2025 NFL season. No Juice Scruggs, no Jake Andrews, but Jarrett Patterson was on the list. This is what they had to say about Patterson. After an offseason spent adding new pieces and shuffling the offensive line, the Texans have much to figure out. Jarrett Patterson finished 2024 at center for Houston with former second-rounder Juice Scruggs sliding to guard. Either could take the job in 2025, but just to add more uncertainty to the mix, it was Jake Andrews who logged the time with the starting unit in OTAs. During his time as a starter in 2024, Patterson posted a 69.3 PFF pass blocking grade, good for a top 12 mark at the center position from week 10 onward. And by PFF, he was ranked the 28th center in the National Football League. And like it said, back half of last year was considered a top 12 center in terms of pass blocking by PFF. Now, is that the word all be all? Is PFF the gospel? No, I'm not saying that. But I do think it's a 3-man race, but really kind of turning into a 2-man race between Jake Andrews and Jarrett Patterson. Like I said, Jake Andrews, he took those first snaps with the first team at OTAs, but Jarrett Patterson, he was kind of mixing in there with the first team as well. Ariante Ursery and Blake Fisher were going back and forth at the right tackle spot during OTAs at that starting right tackle spot. So, I mean, everything is up in the air when it comes to this Texans offensive line. And I could see Jarrett Patterson or Jake Andrews being the starter once the season comes rolling around. Now, coming up, who's the return man for this Texans team? Because is it Braxton Berrios, or could he be on the outside looking in when it comes to roster cutdown day? I'll give you all that in just a moment, but talking about cutting. They're cutting down the prices over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Texans sale. All the items you see here, slashing those prices like I'm doing karate. All this stuff right now on sale. And you know what that means? Some of this stuff might not even be available by the time you watch this video. So go check out that link, chatsports.com/Texans sale, because only while supplies last will this stuff be on sale. And they have everything. They have stuff you can wear like shirts, t-shirts, sweaters. They have decals. They have cups. They have flip-flops. All different kinds of stuff on sale. Go do a little window shopping. This link right here will be in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, Braxton Berrios. Is he the return man for the Houston Texans? No, I'm just going to give this one Toro head. I think he has a shot, but it's not looking good for the young man, Braxton Berrios. Now, he is dating Alex Earl, so props to you, Mr. Berrios. But at the same time, was really not a huge participant at OTAs. And, last year, 7 punt returns, 103 yards, 3 kick returns, 76 yards for Berrios. But whenever it comes down to cut down the roster, will that carry him to get a spot on the final 53 if he's just seen as a return man? Because if he's not adding anything in the wide receiver room, do they want to keep him, or would they rather roll the dice with a different return man? I don't know, maybe even a Damian Pierce, who we talked about a lot since the Texans made the move for Nick Chubb. So, I mean, I could see it where they have him as the 5th or 6th receiver that they keep on this roster. But there's a lot of other options that the Texans could go with, too. All these guys have had some sort of kick/punt return experience. Jalen Knoll, the rookie out of Iowa State, he could be an option if you're looking for a punt or return man. John Mechie III, if they're going to keep him on the roster over a Braxton Berrios, they can maybe have him be a return specialist for this team. Christian Kirk, who they traded for this offseason from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Actually, it's funny, the one clip that the Texans posted about Christian Kirk was his time at Texas A&M. He played at NRG Stadium and actually returned a punt for a touchdown. Jawar Jordan, who the Texans drafted last year out of Louisville, is a return specialist guy. And I kind of added this Derek Stingley Jr., which don't freak out, but he was, taking punt returns at OTAs, maybe just for the hell of it, maybe just for fun. But you're telling me in a, tight situation where the Texans need a good return, why not throw Stingley back there? He can do it all. He can do it all. He's the all-pro, and I believe if the Texans needed to, maybe a little, joker, a little ace up the sleeve could be Derek Stingley Jr. as a punt return man. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to hit me up, you can do so on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. My DMs are always open, and if you made it to the end of today's program, make sure you go down and hit that subscribe button because, hey, my promise to you is this. Give me 1 week. Give me 1 week. Hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. If you don't like it, if you don't like my content in a week, you could unsubscribe. But let me prove to you why we are the #1 Texans channel here on YouTube.